Hello, I'm Jen, and welcome back to my channel, Literary Love 123, where I like to use my master's in English to champion the literary merits of the horror genre. And today's video is a tag video. This one is the mid-year book freakout tag. And to be honest, I don't need a mid-year tag to freak out. I feel like I'm freaking out all the time. But all of that out of the way, let's talk about some books. Quick disclaimer before we get into the book discussions. Excuse the chaos behind me. That old bookshelf, which is not exactly a bookshelf, it's just a cheapo canvas on tubing kind of something or other. Anyway, it fell apart. I've got custom bookshelves being made, but it's going to be a couple of months. So I'm freaking out about that too, about the disaster behind me. So maybe I'm just setting the right ambiance for this video unintentionally. But let's get started. Okay, so I saw this tag first on Edie Lewis Reviews channel. So I'll link Edie's channel down below, but I know a lot of people are doing this. And this tag was created by Earl Grey Books and Is That Cami? And so I will link their channels down below too. So number one, I guess I should say how many tags or prompts there are here. 13 prompts. Number one, best book you've read so far in 2024. And for me, that is The Haunting of Velkwood by Gwendolyn Keist. This is such a unique story about an entire neighborhood being haunted, but also individual people being haunted, and discussions around trauma and this idea of suburbia, how on the surface it looks all perfect and safe and comforting, but underneath is something very sinister. And also, this idea that your home is not always a safe space for you. So many discussions around trauma and haunting and its different formats. I freaking absolutely love this book. So, number two, best sequel you've read so far in 2024. And these kind of go together as part of the Indian Lake trilogy. The best sequels that I've read this year are Don't Fear the Reaper and The Angel of Indian Lake by Stephen Graham Jones. The next one is a new release you haven't read yet, but want to. And that is Fragile Animals by Genevieve Jagger. At least I think this is a new release, but at any rate, it is definitely one that I want to get to. I guess I could look here. Yes, it's released 2024. Great. So, yeah, Fragile Animals. I just love this cover. Let's talk about what this book is about and why I'm so excited to read it. When an ex Catholic woman develops a sexual relationship with a vampire, she is forced to confront the memories that haunt her religious past. Struggling to deal with the familial trauma of her Catholic upbringing, hotel cleaner Noelle travels from Edinburgh to the Isle of Bute. There she meets a man who claims to be a vampire, and a relationship blooms between them based solely on confession. But as talk grows sacrilegious and the weather outside grows colder, Noelle becomes hounded by memories of her past, her blasphemous sexuality, and the love she lost while stuck in the closet, of her mother's affair with the local priest, and the part she played in ending it. What is not to love? Gothic, religious horror, vampires, LGBTQ rep. I cannot get to this one fast enough. Okay, so the next one is your most anticipated release for the second half of the year. And that is So Thirsty by Rachel Harrison. Again, with vampires. I'm always down for some vampires. The next one is biggest disappointment. I think, as far as disappointment for me this year, my biggest disappointment was An Education in Malice by S.T. Gibson. And I want to say it's not that that was a bad book. I just had extremely high expectations based on how much I loved A Dowry of Blood. And I just felt like her writing in An Education in Malice didn't quite hit the level that it did in A Dowry of Blood. And I was also, excited because it was a Carmilla retelling, which is one of my favorite classics. So I feel like a lot of that disappointment could be on me and on what I expected. So again, I just want to say it's not a bad book. It just didn't hit the level I'd hoped it would for me personally. Number 6, biggest surprise. My biggest surprise this year was actually the Indian Lake trilogy. When I read My Heart is a Chainsaw, I immediately fell in love with it. Now, I'll be honest and say that Stephen Graham Jones' writing has been hit or miss for me. I've tried to read The Only Good Indians 3 times, and I've never been able to get past the halfway point. I'm probably going to try again, but I'm going to do it on audio instead of physically reading it, because that's what I did with the Indian Lake trilogy. And that helped me get into Stephen Graham Jones' writing style a lot better. And I freaking absolutely loved it. It's got Final Girl energy, it's got unique takes on Final Girls. And I'm going to be doing an upcoming series on Final Girls. So I don't want to say a lot about my thoughts as far as the Indian Lake trilogy goes in that respect. But I just want to say that I ended up loving it. Um, okay, the next thing, favorite new author, debut, or new to you. And that is Chelsea G. Summers. And oh, sorry, I shook my desk. I apologize. I got so excited. Chelsea G. Summers. I loved A Certain Hunger. I'm going to talk a little bit more about it in a minute too, because there are some overlapping answers to the questions that I have. Okay. Newest fictional crush. I don't know about that one. That one's a little tricky. So let me possibly come back to that one, because I've been trying to think about, did I get a new fictional crush? Maybe. Could I say that I'm crushing on Dorothy Daniels from A Certain Hunger? Yeah, I'm going to go with that. I'm going to go with that. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that book in just a minute, too. Okay, newest favorite character. You know what? I think I'm going to go with Dorothy Daniels on that, too. She's a food critic, and she likes delectable food. She also likes to men and prepare them in very delectable dishes, which she then consumes. So, yeah, I think so. I think so. Uh, a book that made you cry. Okay. So I have 3 for that. And again, they all go into the Indian Lake trilogy. I cried at My Heart is a Chainsaw. I cried during Don't Fear the Reaper. And I cried during The Angel of Indian Lake. So thank you, Stephen Graham Jones, right? Number 11, a book that made you happy. Again, A Certain Hunger by Chelsea G. Summers. Yeah, it made me really happy. I have talked about this in other videos, so I will link them down below too, so you can get a little bit more information about why I love this book. Okay, number 12, most book you've bought so far this year. And that is Lost in the Garden by Adam S. Leslie. I love this. It's giving total like May Queen vibes, Midsummer vibes. It's folk horror. Let me just tell you a little bit about it. I think I did talk about this in my June or summer TBR or book haul somewhere, but I can't remember. So let me talk about it. Like an old wives' tale, like a piece of wisdom passed down through generations, which no one questioned or even thought about too hard. Like folklore, it was just something everyone knew, a rule to be followed. Don't go to Almondby. Heather, Rachel, and Antonia are going to Almondby. Heather needs to find her boyfriend, who, like so many, went and never came back. Rachel has a mysterious package to deliver, and her life depends on it. And Antonia, poor love struck Antonia, just wants the chance to spend the day with Heather. So off they set through the idyllic yet perilous English countryside, in which nature thrives in abundance and summer lasts forever. And as they travel through ever shifting geography and encounter strange voices in the fizz of shortwave radio, the harder it becomes to tell friend from foe. Creepy, dreamlike, unsettling, and unforgettable. You are about to join the privileged few who come to understand exactly why we don't go to Almondby. And Eric LaRocca blurbed it, so let me read that blurb to you. Eerily enchanting and profoundly inventive, Adam S. Leslie's Lost in the Garden is a dreamy and unsettling masterwork written with such care and aplomb. This is one of the freshest and most spiritually rewarding novels I've read in quite some time. So it sounds good. It's beautiful, and I'm excited to read it. And number 13, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? Well, back there on my TBR cart, there are quite a few. Uh, and this idea of needing to read something, I don't know. I do have 24 books I want to read in 2024. There are several of those that I haven't gotten to yet. But, this whole idea of needing to read something, I'm not sure I want to even tell myself that I need to do it. So that concludes the mid-year Freakout tag. Thank you so much for watching. I would really appreciate it if you would like this video, subscribe, and hit that bell so we can continue talking about books. Bye.